Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the Michigan International Speedway, as we have returned in the Haas IndyCar Series 2022. This is the Michigan 150 laps of action around this 2-mile-long racetrack in Brooklyn, Michigan. And once again, another super speedway event here in the Haas IndyCar Series. And it wasn't that long ago when we had the Indianapolis 250, that legendary battle between Trey Smith and Zachary Fitzwater for the race win. Well, we could very well see one of the two guys get the win again here today. Coming into this race on the high-speed ovals, every high-speed oval has been won by Zachary Fitzwater, except for the Indianapolis 250, where he finished second. And second is where he currently sits in the points, 18 points behind Trey Smith, who has won the last two races here in the Haas IndyCar Series at Indianapolis and Road America. Joined alongside Andrew Miller for the call of this race. Andrew, do you see anybody other than Trey Smith or Zachary Fitzwater getting the win here today in Michigan? Because they have been the two guys to win on these high-speed ovals this season.
Well, it's just going to be a matter of making the right moves at the right time, but obviously those guys, they know exactly how to do that. Fitzwater being probably the most experienced at that. Trey Smith, pretty experienced himself, and showing that with being in the points lead. So it's going to be hard to snatch from those guys, but with it being a super speedway type of race, we know how much of a wild card that can be. So it can be anyone's race here.
It definitely could be, and we have a couple of guys who failed to qualify for the Indianapolis 250 starting inside the top 10. As a matter of fact, all three of the guys who failed to qualify for the Indy 250 starting inside the top 10 here today in Michigan. Justin Zeidel, Chris Reynolds, and Richard Kinghart. Kinghart's won a race this season on the road course, but the other two have not. Zeidel hasn't won a race in this series since 2018, and Chris Reynolds has never won in this series before, but a great opportunity for those guys to go to victory lane. Another great opportunity for our pole sitter, Logan Williams, to get his first win of the season, and Jesse Turner as well, long-time veteran, the all-time winningest driver on this channel, is actually not him. It's Fitzwater. It's, you know what, I've been out of it for a while. I'm sorry. He's the second all-time winningest driver. Fitzwater, the all-time winningest. He's been winning a lot this year. Turner had that for a moment, but he could close in a little bit more on Fitzwater here today as he starts on the outside pole there in the number 38. But in the points standings, like I mentioned, it's essentially a two-horse race at this point, but we still have 9 races left to go until we crown a champion at Pocono at the end of August. Yes, 9 races in 2 months. We're going to try to do that. But Trey Smith holds the points lead, 18 points ahead of Zachary Fitzwater, then 88 behind in third is Nathan Faden, 93 behind is Ace Garcia, and 95 behind is Brian Rodriguez. So at this point, the focus is on Fitzwater and Trey Smith, but if they start to slip up, they start to wreck out in a lot of these races, we could see some of those guys move up through the points and have a shot at the championship. Reminder, there are no double points races in the Haas IndyCar Series, so 51 points, actually should I say 54 points, 53 points actually. I want to get that right. It used to be 54, so now 53 points is the maximum amount of points you can get in one race weekend for winning the pole, leading the most laps, and winning the race. So we'll have to see if any of these drivers can catch up to Trey Smith and Zachary Fitzwater in the point standings before the end of the season. We'll get these guys to roll off here for the Michigan 100. Like I mentioned, starting on the pole position, the number 18 of Logan Williams grabbed the pole position yesterday, and qualifying alongside him, it's Jesse Turner in the number 38. A couple of Michigan natives in Elijah Gordon and Justin Zeidel making up row number 2. Reggie Fogelman and Chris Reynolds in row number 3. Nathan Faden and the guy that's been nearly impossible to beat on the high-speed ovals this season, Zachary Fitzwater, in the number 66. We have Eric Monaco to the inside of Richard Kinghart there in row number 5. There's your points leader, Trey Smith, who won the other high-speed oval that Fitzwater did not win this season. The biggest race of the season, the Indianapolis 250. We'll have to see if Trey Smith can go 3 in a row here today in the Haas IndyCar Series. Make sure everyone's rolling off okay. Andrew, who do you think is going to go to victory lane here in the Michigan 100 for 50 laps?
I'm going to be keeping my eye on Nathan Faden. He's starting on the inside lane, which is probably going to be a good place to start there. And being third in points, but as far back as he is, still 9 races to go, like you said, but I know that he's going to be feeling the pressure right now to try to close that gap to Smith and Fitzwater as much as he can, so expect Faden to be pretty aggressive here, I think.
Faden does have a win this season at Circuit of the Americas, so he does have that one win under his belt. He's cracked that glass ceiling. Have to see if he can get it again here. We've only had 6 winners so far this season in 11 races. That's actually less frequent than in the NTT IndyCar Series. So it's been hard to get to victory lane this season. We'll have to see who can do it. We're green flag racing in Michigan, and we're underway in the Michigan 100. Lap 1 and a bonus point towards the championship for Logan Williams. Another bonus point towards the championship. He grabbed the point for winning the pole. Another one there for leading a lap. Elijah Gordon there in second. And Reggie Fogelman in the third position, battling with Jesse Turner. Definitely going to be interesting to see how these guys race here today. I do not anticipate a yellow flag coming out in this race. It could happen. It's always possible. But these guys and the whole testing process that we've done have kept it very clean, and hopefully they will stay that way. A big bubble of air between these guys here in Michigan, and that will make it a little difficult to make passes here today in this Michigan 100.
Yeah, we see him starting to maybe try to settle down a little bit, but at least in the early going here, looking fairly multi-groove. Guys on the inside sticking dead even with the outside. Usually you see one lane start to prevail over the other, but so far pretty much dead even, but leader keeping it to the outside lane, which is interesting. Maybe trying to save some tires that way.
And I think these guys will save their Firestones quite a bit using that outside lane. And I think the better arc works out pretty well for these guys as well. They pretty much go wide open around this place, but that inside arc there, they do have to slow down a little bit, even if they're not actually hitting the brake or letting off the gas. Just the friction of that car going on that inside lane, I think, slows them down just a little bit there. And you got to consider all the aerodynamics going on here, too. I mean, Reggie Fogelman and Jesse Turner have been side by side for quite a while here. We'll have to see if anyone gets the advantage on the other driver there. It looks like Fogelman may get the advantage here. He's got a nose to the inside of Elijah Gordon now for second, but Logan Williams holding strong here in this 18. No one has challenged him for this race lead yet in this event.
Yeah, that gap could not be more consistent right now between Williams and Gordon. That it's been about a car length, half a car length at the very least. But that gap just is not moving. So like you said, just kind of stuck in that bubble right now. But inside lane starting to show some muscle all of a sudden.
And Reggie Fogelman bringing these guys on the inside lane. There's your pick to win. Nathan Faden on the inside lane as well. They do seem to be coming pretty strong now, but 3 wide there. Richard Kingart looking to make some moves there on Faden and Gordon. That might slow that inside lane down just a little bit. Fuel window in this race going to be roughly about 35 laps to 34 to 38 laps, I do believe. I think that's what it is. But right around that mid-30 mark, so there will be a one-stop race if this race stays green. As Fogelman takes the race lead away from Logan Williams. And here comes Richard Kingart now on that inside lane, utilizing that inside to his advantage. Nathan Faden still there, battling for third. Fogelman went a little wide there off the exit of the corner, but he'll be able to stay ahead of the 18. But Kingart's going to take the race lead away from the 24.
And Kingart's looking like he's got a really good car there because of just how deep he had to dive it into turn 1 there. And he didn't lose much momentum. And usually when you're not able to arc it that much, that's where you're going to lose some momentum. And the fact that he was able to keep it going that hard, I think that that shows, at least in the short run, that is a good car right there.
Absolutely. He actually had a bit of a violent move there coming up there. The car wiggled just a little bit, but he's able to keep that thing out front. Nathan Faden looking to take second. Eric Monaco looking to take third away from the 24 of Reggie Fogelman. A lot of guys who have not been up front in a lot of these races this season. Of course, Kingart has won a race this year, and so has Angel Oliveira here. Like I mentioned, we've only had 6 different winners in 11 races so far. Both Trey Smith and Zachary Fitzwater have won 3 times this season, and Elijah Gordon has won twice. And then it's Richard Kingart, Angel Oliveira, and Nathan Faden, the other guys who have gone the victory lane. So I say that, and 3 of the guys who only have 1 win this season are now inside the top 5. So the 2 guys are... Most of the guys who have won a majority of the races are not inside the top 5 right now, but even Elijah Gordon running up front First, back in the field is where you see Zachary Fitzwater and Trey Smith battling, and that is not what these guys want. Like I mentioned, there's still 9 races left to go, including this one here today. These guys cannot afford to play it safe at this point in the season. Yes, they have that buffer on the field, but, you know, if they're not careful enough, we could easily see someone like Nathan Fay, Ace Garcia, Brian Rodriguez snuck himself into that top 5 in points. Any of those guys could have a shot at moving themselves through the points in these final 9 races, but we'll just have to see how it all goes down. Scott Upton there moving to the inside of Elijah Gordon. Pretty clean race so far, and hopefully it stays that way here today. Of course, if an accident does occur, it's probably going to be rather violent, a lot like the accidents that we see at Indianapolis. Eric Monaco and Nathan Faden. Bit of a crossover right there as Faden goes back to the inside of Monaco.
Yeah, just back to what you're saying about Smith and Fitzwater, they know probably just from their spotters telling them that Faden's running up here at the front, and that's got to be making them at least a little bit nervous. If they fall enough behind Faden, Garcia, and Rodriguez, then that gap could close up pretty quickly here. 9 races, that's not a short stretch. That's plenty of time to make up ground, and that's why I was saying that's why Faden's my pick here. Is I know that he's going to be aggressive to try to make up those 88 points.
Absolutely. Richard Kinghart, though, might be hard to beat as well. A little bit of vengeance going on for this driver as he failed to make the Indianapolis 250. He wants to make up for, get a second win of the season and a win on a high-speed oval, and shows that he could have easily won that Indianapolis 250 if he was in the event. Top 3 drivers have all won races this season. Angel Oliveira won Lime Rock, Nathan Faden won Coda, and then Richard Kinghart won Willow Springs. And Oliveira looking to take second away, but he couldn't quite clear that 0-0 there. And all this battling for second is allowing Richard Kinghart to pull away with this race lead. And in the wall just a little bit there was Nathan Faden. He scraped the outside wall, just a touch right there. That might affect him. He's going to lose another position there to Eric Monaco.
Yeah, he'll lose a little bit of momentum that way, but he's just trying to get as good of an arc as he can while being surrounded by this many drivers. I do have to wonder also if being the leader, of course, you got the clean air. You're breaking the air for the guys behind you, but you also got all that air on your wings. The guys behind him, not so much. So that might also be playing into why they're trying to arc it a little bit more, and well, hence put Faden in the wall there a little bit.
And now we're starting to see these guys get a little single file throughout the field. That double wide's just not working out too well for some guys. As a matter of fact, only have a few guys trying anything on an inside lane, and it's just those 3 guys kind of in the middle there. And Fitzwater's one of those guys. So you got Ace Garcia, Landon Smith Jr., and Zachary Fitzwater all there on the inside lane, but even they are looking to file themselves up to that outside lane, and we may have ourselves a little choo-choo train going around the outside lane here in Michigan. But don't worry, we're going to have a cycle of pit stops in this race, and that will definitely determine who gets the race victory if this race stays green, because that's going to split the field up. We're going to end up with maybe just a few guys at the end who are racing for the race win, and one of those guys is going to get it done. But at the moment, everyone content to stay where they are, save a little bit of fuel. Of course, these guys still battling in the mid-pack, but outside of that, everyone up front inside the top 5 staying single file and just saving the fuel right now, trying to stretch it as far as they possibly can.
And just to make a little point there about Kinghart and what you were mentioning about not qualifying for Indy. I mean, if everyone remembers back to the IRL kart split, I mean, basically the equivalent to the Indy 500 was this very race at Michigan. So I don't know if maybe a little bit of redemption could be felt there if Kinghart were to get it, just knowing that there's still at least that prestige there. So, but that also means that he definitely knows how to get it done. Kinghart's, of course, very experienced in all forms of NR.
Absolutely. It's the first, well, it's actually the second time we've come here in the Haas IndyCar Series, and I mentioned in qualifying yesterday, the first time we came here was in 2015, and back then I did not know what an INI was, so it basically played out like a stock car race. Obviously the speeds and everything going on here is a lot more realistic. So essentially the first ever Michigan 100 here. We were to do this race. We were going to do this race last year when we were scheduling the whole season, but obviously that whole season never happened, and this race was supposed to happen last weekend too. But hey, we're finally getting to it. We finally got to the Michigan 100, and definitely an exciting race so far. Even though there hasn't been much passing for the race lead, I think we're going to see a lot happen when that cycle begins. But look at this whole field. Only one car on that inside lane. That's Chris Reynolds trying to get something to work there in that number 50 machine to the inside of Noah Clifton, but even he may find a slot onto that outside lane. We may be single file throughout the entire field here in just a moment. You don't really see that in NR too often, but that's what we're seeing right now here in this Michigan 100. But definitely a lot of drivers up front looking for another race victory. For Eric Monaco's case, he's looking for his first ever win in this series. Scott Upton, they won the pole at California. Since then, they've kind of fallen off a little bit there in that 02 machine, but here they are in 5th now, running top 5. Looking to get their first win of the season. You got Reggie Fogelman, who's been a strong rookie, especially this weekend. Zach Winkle, Ace Garcia, Landon Smith Jr., and how can you forget him, Zachary Fitzwater, who, way they currently run right now, I think he might take the points lead. No, I don't think so. I don't know. I think he actually might take the points lead the way they're currently running right now. It's 18 points, it'll be close, but right now you got a battle for the race lead. Angel Oliveira to the inside of Richard Kinghart. He's going to start shuffling things up front.
I was keeping my eye on Oliveira there. He kept getting lower and lower than Kinghart was and getting closer and closer to his rear wing. I was wondering if he was waiting for the opportune time or what, but now he's taking the lead, and Monaco looking to follow suit there.
Might be a little harder for Monaco to make the move, though. Monaco kind of went with Oliveira there. Monaco's going to try to hold that inside and hug it there. The tires are starting to wear out, so it's going to get a little harder for these guys to work that inside lane. And I don't know if it's going to happen for Monaco. It will not. So we had the pass for the race lead. Oliveira was able to do it, but he did need a little help there from Monaco. But Kinghart looking to strike back on the inside. And right there off the exit of 4 is the best place to make a run, because if you get to the left rear tire off the exit, just get him a little bit loose, you might have enough of a momentum heading into turn number 1 to make the pass, and that is exactly what Kinghart did right there to take the lead back away from Angel Oliveira.
Yeah, you'll get the shorter way around on the kind of D-shape front straightaway there, so that'll definitely help you out at least a little bit. But again, I'm surprised at just how much at this point, how much the leader is sliding up there in turns 3 and 4, and it's opened the door once again. We might be flip-flopping the lead yet again.
Here comes Oliveira back to the inside, but Kinghart may actually have the arc into the corner this time, but he's way off the racing line there. And it could be that these guys are kind of doing this on purpose to save fuel. Get a little bit of draft off each other. Kinghart may not want to be in the race lead because he's been leading this pack for quite a while. He's probably got a little less fuel than the rest of the field at this point, and that means he's going to have to come down a little bit earlier. Not sure how that strategy play will work out, if coming in earlier will be the advantage or not, but I think the later these guys can stay out, I think the better the advantage is going to be. Now we're starting to see some shuffling going on in the back here. Scott up into the inside of Nathan Faden. Zach Windle to the inside of Reggie Fogelman there, and now it's really shaking up here. Fitzwater going for a move on Landon Smith Jr. That'll move him up to 9th if he can get it. Watch out, if Fitzwater's up front near the end of this race, he's going to have a shot at getting the race victory. He has 28th career win, I do believe, on the channel, I think. And again, another swap for the race lead. Kinghart back to the inside of Oliveira.
Look at how much they're stacking up behind them, though, just from being side by side. They're losing that bit of momentum, and everyone is just closed right in, and they're trying to make moves on each other, and just like that, we are back to 2 by 2 by 2. And yeah, I'm with you. I'll be interested to see if pitting early or pitting later is going to be the right call in order to gain some track position.
Zach Winkle doing a great job in this 28 machine. He's moving this inside lane now that it's formed up. Ace Garcia's up here as well. He's one of those guys up there in points, at least relatively speaking, but one of the guys he's trying to chase is right behind him, Zachary Fitzwater. Trey Smith, on the other hand, he's not having a good race. He's still down in the 20th position right here, and it's just not working out the way he would have hoped. After winning the last 2 races here in this series, got the Indy 250 race victory, biggest win of his career, and then backed it up with a win at Road America 3 weeks ago. Or was it 4 weeks ago? I think it was 4 weeks ago. It's been that long for these guys, but still, Trey Smith, he may lose the points lead to Fitzwater here today, the way things are looking. And Fitzwater's looking really strong right now. To the inside of Reggie Fogelman there, he's now in 8th. We'll have to see if he gets a run to the inside of Faden. That is exactly what Faden does not want to see, as Fitzwater move to the inside of him. And that 66 is definitely really fast right now, and he's going to be a threat to win this race, the way things are looking. But Kinghart and Oliveira have been the 2 guys swapping for the race lead a majority of this race. Don't count out Scott Upton. They're here in 3rd. He moved up very well, and Zach Winkle as well, definitely moving up quick. Same with Ace Garcia and Zachary Fitzwater. All these guys have gotten around Monaco. and Faden and Reggie Fogelman. Oh, I think we may have just... Did we just have a yellow? No, we did not. That was a very odd move out of Fitzwater. It almost looked like Faden had to check up to let him in.
Interesting strategy play there if you're letting one of your title rivals in front of you there, but maybe just knows we're getting close to pit stops here and is just trying to see what Fitzwater's doing, because yeah, Fitzwater he gained a ton there on that in that run there. So as I was saying, is some of these guys had the good short run car. Fitzwater might have the good long run cars. We're back to single file.
Of course, the last run of this race is only going to be anywhere from 12 to 15 laps, so it's not going to be that long at the end. We're already on lap 29, well past halfway here in this Michigan 100 now, so that long run car may not come into effect at the end of this race. You're going to have a mid-run car, because it's a little bit longer than a short run, a little bit shorter than a long run. We'll just have to see who gets the advantage, but I think any of these guys inside the top 10 right now can have a shot at winning this race as long as their pit stop goes well and as long as they can stay in the lead draft. If you're in the lead draft, coming to the finish, or coming off of the cycle of pit stops, I should say, you're going to have a good opportunity at winning this race here today, but we'll have to see how it all goes down. Everybody single file again. I think they're waiting for the cycle to begin here, and it will begin in just a few laps, and they want to make sure that they do not wreck coming down the pit lane here, because it's a very high-speed entry, and it's a bit of a tough arc to get into that pit lane there, from the banking down into the pit lane. A little bit different than it is at Indianapolis. At Indianapolis, you're pretty much going straight, and then you turn in. You're still turning on the racetrack, and then you turn even more into the pit lane, so it's a bit of a more difficult entry than what it is at Indianapolis for these guys.
Yeah, they're going to have to be pretty careful on what's that transition. I mean, once you get off of the transition, just based on experience, you can at least be a little bit aggressive when you're coming up to the pit speed line and give it a little bit of gas before you hit the brakes. But actually making that transition, that's going to be tough. So definitely watch for these guys to maybe try to keep it a little bit spread out. But if they get awfully close together, that could spell trouble.
Fitzwater up another position. He's now up to 6th. At 66 is fast, but does he have the short run speed? That is the big question. But Upton, Winkle, Garcia, and Fitzwater, they all moved up. But Olvera and Kinger continue to lead this field, and once again, they're looking to swap positions for the race lead. Olvera to the inside of Richard Kinger for the top position. Kinger does have the help on that outside lane, but he's kind of letting Olvera take that inside lane, but they may remain side by side off the corner here. And Kingart may not let that 25 have it this time. They may open the door for Scott Upton. They might have a shot here. So they're double wide for the race lead. And they're coming close to the cycle beginning here in just a couple of laps. They don't want to be side by side if they're trying to come down next time by.
I was going to say, this is not the best time to be starting to make moves right now, because we saw how much these two battling for the lead stacked up everyone else and made it double wide. And if they start doing that again, that's going to make this way more treacherous trying to come down pit road. I think it's going to be imminent at this point.
There's all these guys, I think, are back to single file, so the cycle's going to begin here very soon. And we'll watch these guys here. I think this time, no, next time by. Some guys in the back still trying to make some moves before this cycle begins. We got 16 laps to go and a cycle of pit stops left for the entire field. Average running time, average speed, I should say, 221.8 miles per hour right now. That's pretty darn fast. But they've done an excellent job keeping it clean here today. Of course, they're all running in a line, so they're going about as fast as they possibly can in these Indy cars here today. But the pit crews are going to have to be fast if they're going to get the race victory. Here we go. They keep on faking me out. You know, with these guys going single file like this, I think they've been able to get pretty good fuel mileage, and I thought that cycle would begin around lap 35. They are still waiting here. Ace Garcia under fire from Zachary Fitzwater. Fitzwater trying to make a move on the outside of Garcia there before the cycle begins. Fitzwater trying to get inside the top 5 here, and if he's the top 5, I mean, where he is right now, he's going to have a shot at winning this race. Now, I think we're going to see some of these guys come down. There we go. Fogelman in the 24 and then the 42 of Elijah Gordon. Both mid-pack. The only two coming down here on lap 36. I don't know if that's going to really be beneficial to them or not, because they don't have any other drafting help except each other, and that's going to really make it hard for them. But I think what's even going to make it harder is that we have an accident and a wreck. Caution is out here at Michigan. Or something happened to Richard Kinghart. I think Kinghart ran out of fuel, and then they wrecked behind because he ran out of fuel. Landon Smith Jr. with damage and more contact. Trey Smith and Caleb Rose. And that's going to completely turn this entire race around. Chris Reynolds has won the race back to the line. I think Kinghart ran out of fuel, and the whole field had no idea that he was running out of fuel, and they checked up and wrecked behind him. Unbelievable. There's Elijah Gordon, who's coming back to complete his lap, and I think Fogelman, I think they'll both stay on the lead lap. I think they will both stay on the lead lap, but what a turn of events right there. And what that did, because all the guys who were directly behind Richard Kinghart had to check up and avoid him. Everyone from behind just whizzed right by, and now you have Chris Reynolds, Justin Zeidel, Jay Knapp, Thomas Troxel, and Noah Clifton. The top 5 as they come down the pit lane, and everyone else should be coming down here. Landon Smith, it was not a good lap for the Smith brothers, I'll tell you that much. Both Trey Smith and Landon Smith Jr. getting involved in accidents there. That was... I don't know what on earth that was. Kinghart, who was the dominant guy in this race, he's not going to have a chance at winning now because he's going to lose at least one lap for running out of fuel there. Or it could have just been a terminal issue, but I would imagine he ran out of fuel. He led that pack that entire time, and more likely than not, did not have the amount of fuel that the rest of the field had there. But here we go. It's going to be fuel and tires for this entire field. And now this entire race is completely different than what it was. However, I'm wondering, we may possibly see, was it Gordon and Fogelman possibly take this race lead here, if my math serves me correctly. Noah Clifton, Ethan Lewis, Thomas Troxel, Chris Reynolds, Jay Knapp, Cole Raymond, Angel Oliveira, Brian Rodriguez, Justin Zeidel, Brandon Nelson, Ace Garcia, Zachary Fitzwater, Scott Upton, and that's a tough one for Upton. They were right behind Kinghart and Oliveira there, and they're going to be midway through the field. Zach Winkle as well. Brock Nelson, Nicholas Amadio, Caleb Rose, Eric Monaco lost a lot of ground. Logan Williams, Nathan Faden, Jesse Turner, and there's Kinghart finally coming off the pit lane. Let me see here. I do believe the new race leader is Elijah Gordon. Trey Smith is now out of the race. That is huge in terms of the championship. Fitzwater is midway through the field now because of all of this. This is going to completely change this whole championship. The good thing about this, I will say, even though it completely scrambled the whole field, no one is going to get caught a lap down other than those who were caught up or a cause of the accident or the caution. So everyone still has an opportunity at winning this race. But Elijah Gordon, I do believe, has inherited the race lead, and he has with Reggie Fogelman. So coming down, when those guys did, worked out perfectly. And now they're the race leaders here with less than 10 laps to go in the Michigan 100. You're speechless now, aren't you?
That is about as gross of a miscalculation as I've ever seen.
I'm wondering if it was fuel or something completely different, because he slowed down a lot there. We will see what happened, but...
It wasn't just him, right? I could have sworn there was another.
There may have been. There's a lot going on there. But hey, that's why we review the action. Let's go ahead and see what happened to bring out the first and what will hopefully be the only caution of the day here in the Michigan 100. Everyone's still on the lead lap except for the 97 and the 34. Of course, Landon Smith Jr. was caught up in the accident, and Kinghart had his issue. And Trey Smith going to be out of the race. He's going to finish last here in Michigan. So the guy who's won the last 2 races is going to finish last and get 1 point here today. But everybody else, 23 drivers, still on the lead lap here in the Michigan 100. We'll have under 10 laps to go when we restart. But first, let's go ahead and see what happened to bring out that caution here in the Michigan 100 in the Haas IndyCar Series. Gonna replay this in real time first, just to get the effect. It was entering turn number 1 when Kinghart had his issue. We're going to assume he ran out of fuel, but look at what happens here. Chris Reynolds and all these guys pass on the inside. We'll get back to the accident in a moment. Trey Smith, Landon Smith Jr., Jesse Turner got caught up. And then that really messed up Trey Smith, and he came back up here, and these guys just trying to figure out what to do. I mean, they scrambled once for Kinghart, and then they tried to scramble again, and Caleb Rose got caught up. But some guys slowed down, and other guys just went right for it. Chris Reynolds, Zidell, Jay Knapp, they all surpassed those guys who were right behind Kinghart, who had to check up. And they're going to be the beneficiary after all of this, but let's go ahead and replay that in slow motion and kind of wrap our heads around it here for a second. Just imagine he loses the fuel pressure there. I mean, he had led a majority of the race and did not have any draft, so he was full throttle pretty much the entire time there. And 37 laps in, that's a bit long on the fuel run for these guys. And yeah, Chris Reynolds was already on the inside, so he didn't have to check up with all these guys in front of him. And Clifton sees what's happening. I think he moves to the inside as well. And I think what happens, and it happens between the American Motorsport, or no, Trey Smith's on the outside lane. Turner tries to cut down and gain some spots, but he doesn't do it correctly. He gets into his teammate, Landon Smith Jr. Trey Smith on the outside. He doesn't have anybody ahead of him, so he's able to avoid it. He gets caught up in that between the two American Motorsports guys. And they're all just scrambling back behind here to avoid the 97 at Kinghart. This could have been much worse. Someone could have run right into the back of him. But thankfully, Kinghart was able to get back down to the apron. Clifton was on the apron there trying to avoid him. You have these guys, Zidell, Jay Knapp, Thomas Troxel, Ethan Lewis. They're just full throttle. Everyone had a different idea going through all of this, and some guys had the advantage over others. And then you're going to see Trey Smith, points leader, probably points leader no more after today. Just, he must have, like, blown a tire and just couldn't turn it into the corner. Almost looks like he's turning into the wall. He almost got into San Mateo, and Caleb Rose had nowhere to go there in the 55 machine. My goodness. You see Caleb Rose there as well.
I will admit, I'm speechless.
I know. Just when you thought you've seen it all. Now, the good thing about all this is no one's going to be a lap down. Elijah Gordon, Reggie Fogelman, who came into the pit lane just before this happened, will remain on the lead lap and inherit the race lead. Let's go ahead and replay it one more time, however. As
we follow Trey Smith here after what took place, I mean, Smith has fallen way back at this point, and now he's seeing everyone check up in front of him, and he's got to be thinking, finally, a way to gain back some of that track position, and then just right below him, nothing of his doing right there, gets collected, and at this point, yeah, obviously something broken. Maybe with the steering or sway bar, tire, or something like that. The car just not cooperating the way that he wants it to, and Caleb Rose, of course, nowhere to go. I got to think that it had to have been fuel for Kinghart because of just how suddenly it kind of let go there. But the fact that it looks like he's going to be able to continue, if it was something more catastrophic, then he would not be trying to continue. So that's my guess at this point.
It's a tough break for him, but that's kind of on them. They should have known that he was up front that whole time. And I think that may have been why we were seeing Angel Oliveira and Richard Kinghart swap positions like they were there. So Elijah Gordon's out front. Oddly enough, he just drove right by Reggie Fogelman there. I don't know if anyone knew what they were doing, but the good thing, they're going to be 1-2 here on the restart. And let's have to see what Elijah Gordon can do with under 10 laps to go here in this Michigan 100. Let's go ahead and see who gets the race victory here in the 12th race of the season in the Haas IndyCar Series. We are back here at the Michigan International Speedway, the Michigan 100, and this race is completely different than what it looked like 10 laps ago. Not entirely sure what happened to Richard Kinghart there in the number 97. He's a lap down now, and then you have Landon Smith Jr. a lap down from the accident, and then Trey Smith as well. A couple of guys getting caught up there because just everyone was trying to scramble to avoid Kinghart. And in the back of my mind, and I know I said at the top of the show, I don't think we're going to see any cautions, but in the back of my mind I thought, unless we have a mechanical failure or fuel issue, and that's what happened there to Kinghart. But hey, the good thing is no one is a lap down because of all the scrambling. However, the whole field is scrambled now, so the guys who were running up front are now mid-pack, and guys who are mid-pack are now running up front. And Elijah Gordon leads the field. Michigan native looking for his 3rd win of the season with Fogelman, Clifton, Ethan Lewis, and Thomas Troxel, the top 5. We'll have to see if Fogelman has a shot here at his first ever win on the channel. Elijah Gordon, though, looking for his 21st win on the channel, and his 3rd win of the season here in the Haas IndyCar Series.
I mean, he's got plenty of experience being up front. He's won a couple championships on the channel, if I'm not mistaken. So this 42, I think, is going to be pretty tough to beat. But now this is going to be interesting because these guys have been used to running mid-pack amongst a ton of traffic, and now they're going to have a lot less of it. So this is going to be interesting to see how they navigate and how their cars are going to handle.
Reggie Fogelman looking to the inside for the race lead. Ethan Lewis to the inside of Clifton. Chris Reynolds to the inside of Troxel. Want to see where Fitzwater is. And Fitzwater didn't actually lose that much ground. He's now 13th, and you could easily make it back up. Same with Ace Garcia and Scott Upton. But I'm sure they're not too happy about the way that all unraveled ahead of them. But then again, it really wasn't anything anyone did, only unless it was, in fact, a fuel issue. And that's something that the team should have definitely forewarned to Richard Kingard. But Fogelman has taken it away here on lap 44 of 50. 7 laps to go in this Michigan 100. Elijah Gordon is second. Ethan Lewis, Chris Reynolds, Thomas Troxel. Any of these guys can get this win. And with Trey Smith out of this race now and Fitzwater mid-pack, a huge opportunity for guys like Troxel. And, let's see, is there anybody else up front here that has a good shot at the championship? I don't really know. Troxel especially, even Troxel's not even that far up in the points. He's 7th. Ethan Lewis is 8th in the points. Elijah Gordon is 10th in the points. So all those guys have a great opportunity and moving up in this championship. Elijah Gordon, though, could get his 3rd win of the season, and we could end up with 6 winners in 12 races. I don't know. Chris Reynolds, Thomas Troxel, all these guys are hungry for a race win, and they know it's right in front of them here, but Elijah Gordon is standing in their way.
Not sure if I caught a glimpse of maybe lap traffic that could be a factor there.
Landon Smith Jr. is a lap down already. He's on the other end of the racetrack right now. We're going to have 5 laps to go this time. We'll have to see if that becomes a factor here in this Michigan 100. Chris Reynolds to the inside of Fogelman, and Ethan Lewis scraped the outside wall just like Faden did earlier on. He's going to lose some ground there in the 11, but Reynolds to the inside. He missed the Indy 250. Now he's going for his first ever win in the series as he goes to the inside of Elijah Gordon for the top position.
Reynolds is flying. I'm looking at just how much ground he gained there and how much of a power move he just made to get that move done, how far he was to the inside. That, my goodness, that is a good yellow car there that he's driving.
And I will say, too, I think some of these guys took 4 tires. Some may have only taken 2 or no tires. I think Reynolds was one of those guys who took 4, and because of that, he was able to make that move very easily. Troxel now up to 3rd here. I think Troxel may have been another guy who went with 4 tires. And Fitzwater is still midway through the field here in the 13th position, so he's not going to gain much. So great opportunity for Troxel and Gordon back to the inside. 3 laps to go this time by in the Michigan 100. It may be between these 3 guys, Chris Reynolds, Elijah Gordon, and Thomas Troxel. And it's been a rough season for Troxel in some parts. He did not have a good race at Road America in either series. Oh, but he's going to get passed here by Reggie Fogelman. But Gordon back to the lead. He's going to surpass the 50 machine for the top position. I don't think Landon Smith Jr. is going to become a factor. I hope he's not going to. It's 2 laps to go this time by, and they really haven't gained too much ground on him. Reynolds is going to go back to the inside, but Gordon leads that lap. 2 to go in the Michigan 100.
It's going to come down to anyone in this top 4 here, but if those guys in 3rd and 4th stay side by side, it's going to be tough for them to beat, as Fogelman maybe trying to get underneath of Gordon there. That could really open the door for our race leader to pull away a little bit.
It could, but Gordon's going to have a shot back to the inside. He's got a nose. Here we go. White flag in the air here in the Michigan 100. What a race it has been here in the return of the Haas IndyCar Series. Chris Reynolds trying to hold off Elijah Gordon, but will he be able to do it with 1 lap to go? Gordon has the inside. He may be able to clear. If he can clear off the corner, he may win this race. But Reynolds will hold the outside, and they're going to be side by side with 1/2 lap to go here in Michigan.
Oh, man, everyone's sure we're maybe going to see 3 wide there with Fogelman. He might try to dive it yet. Side by side, though. Here we go.
I don't think he's going to have enough of an opportunity, but they will be side by side across the line. Elijah Gordon and Chris Reynolds. Who's it going to be on the outside lane? Chris Reynolds by a nose wins the Michigan 100 in the Haas IndyCar Series. Our 7th winner of the season. Finally, taken us 2 months to do it, at least 2 months. But we finally have a new winner this season, and it's Chris Reynolds for Dracoan Racing Enterprises in the Michigan 100. How
down
about
25th in points.
Yes, I was just about to say as well. How about that for Chris Reynolds and a very, very close finish as well. First ever win in the Haas IndyCar Series, but a rightfully earned win. He had to go up against Elijah Gordon and Thomas Troxel and even Reggie Fogelman at the end there, but he got the outside lane to work that entire lap to come home with the race win.
Yeah, he fought for that one hard. So did Gordon. So did Troxel. Fogelman. Great run for those guys. Maybe you could call it a little bit of luck that they got up there, but once they did get up there, they showed that they had plenty capable cars. And that was really cool to see. I also got to shout out Fitzwater for getting into the top 10, I believe.
Yeah,
I believe that's going to be the point lead.
And you're right. Going to be the new points leader. That's his worst finish on a high-speed oval this season, but it will award Fitzwater the points lead heading into Canadian Tire next weekend. Of course, the thing about Fitzwater, he hasn't been as strong on the road courses as he has been on the ovals, and that's been more Trey Smith's specialty, so we'll just have to see how it goes, but points are going to be a little bit closer, just a little bit, heading into the Canadian Grand Prix next weekend. But Chris Reynolds really isn't going to be part of that championship battle, but look at that margin of victory. It's been a while since we've had one that close. 7 1/1000ths of a second between Reynolds and Gordon for the race win. Troxel there in third with a podium. Great run for Troxel. He's going to gain a little bit of ground on those guys up front. Reggie Fogelman there in fourth. Noah Clifton, Ethan Lewis. Brian Rodriguez finished 7th. He's going to gain a little bit of ground as well. Cole Raymond, Jay Knapp with the top 10. That's Jay Knapp's 3rd top 10 of the season. Everyone has at least 2 top 10s this year, which is interesting. And Fitzwater, of course, is going to be the new points leader after Trey Smith, you see there, in last place. That did not work out for Trey Smith, getting caught up in that accident. Kinghart finished a lap down after he led a majority of this race and had his issue right in the front of the field. Guys like Scott Upton midway through the field, Ace Garcia as well. They were guys who were up front. Eric Monaco, Nathan Faden finished 20th. They just all got completely screwed because of that incident there out of Richard Kinghart, and you just never know. You just never know. That's why we race, and Chris Reynolds, the beneficiary of all that there, as he gets his first ever win here in the Haas IndyCar Series.
Well, congrats to Reynolds. They're well-deserved. 7 1/1000ths of a second. That is so cool to see. Also got it, but yeah, feeling for Kinghart, feeling for Faden, and a lot of those guys that were up front there for a while. Eric Monaco as well. I just got to look at something. Whatever happened with Kinghart, if it was a strategy blunder or just the engine quitting at the wrong time, I don't know. That was one of the more crazy things that I've seen, doing this for a little while myself, and so we got a feel for him. That's a bummer, but it opened the door for a lot of these other guys, and they put on a great show there for those final 8-9 laps.
Absolutely. The wait was worth it, wasn't it, guys? Hey, I'm sorry it took me a while to get to this, and, I have just been kind of enjoying my time off, and, hey, I'm going to try to do it, try to get it done by the end of August when I have the finale planned as scheduled. We'll just have to see if I can do that, of course. That means 1 race a week for these guys, so we'll just have to see. But, hey, that was a fun race, and that definitely makes me look forward to the next race here in the Haas IndyCar Series, which is Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Mosport. Should have a good one for the Canadian Grand Prix right there. I don't think we'll see what we saw with Kinghart in that race. They won't be pack racing there, but the road course races are definitely very interesting, and all the series we do here on the channel, and excited to see another one here in the Haas IndyCar Series. Here are the points after 12 races. We finally have our 7th winner. That's the first new winner this season since April, I actually do believe, because in May was when we had Kansas. That's when Fitzwater won. Elijah Gordon won the Indianapolis Road Course. He had already won. Trey Smith won the Indy 250. He had already won. And then he won again at Road America. So that's the first new winner since April in this series. Chris Reynolds there in the number 50 machine. So it's been that long since we've had a driver who has not won already this season get a race victory. And Elijah Gordon almost won it too, so... And those guys, they're going to be hard to beat. I think Gordon may have a shot at this championship as the season goes along. This race is definitely going to help him out. And just imagine if he got the win, then it would have been 10 more points. But hey, you guys will see the points here in just a moment. Thank you guys so much for watching. A huge thanks to Andrew for joining me once again. I know we don't have co-commentators that much anymore on the channel. I like doing the races by myself most of the time, but these bigger events, especially the Haas IndyCar Series, you guys definitely love this series. I like to try to at least find someone to do it, to kind of spice it up, and I don't lose my voice throughout the race, you know, because I can't do an Indy 250 by myself. That's impossible. In a race like this, even though it's only, you know, a fifth of that length, or not a fifth of that length, 2/5 of that length. I'm trying to do my math in my head. It's a long race, and, you know, I like to take some breaks and have someone else do the talking every once in a while. But, hey, thank you so much for joining me, Andrew. And, yeah, here are the points for the Haas IndyCar Series after 12 races. Chris Reynolds wins here at Michigan. We'll see you guys next week at Canadian Tire. Hopefully we'll see you next week. You know how that is, but I do plan on getting that race up next week. And, of course, Wahlwer Pro Series First Dash Series will be continuing on whenever it continues on as well. You'll see those races here and there, and I hope you guys enjoy that as well. But either way, I've been talking long enough on behalf of Andrew Miller. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. We'll try to do better the next time. Congratulations to Chris Reynolds, and I will see you guys later.